Thank you all for being here today. I just really appreciate the information that we've received from the university, from a number of stakeholders who are here today as well. Thank you all for taking the time to be with us as we're making a visit here to the state of Nebraska. I'm Senator Fischer, Senator Deb Fischer from the state of Nebraska, with my colleague, Senator Pete Ricketts, and we are both absolutely thrilled today to have the ranking member of the Senate Ag Committee with us as we tour the state, Senator John Boozman, who is from the great state of Arkansas. We started out today at a farm nearby and had a round table with some farmers, and I was just very, very impressed, first of all, with the farming practices that these families employ on their family farms. Where they live, where their families live, they are on the land, they take care of their resources, their land, their water, their livestock, and they feed the world. They are part of the group that feeds the world, and that's ag producers in the state of Nebraska. We had a roundtable where we talked about things that they're hoping to see in the Farm Bill that the Senate Ag Committee is working on right now. And those are things that I hear all across the state of Nebraska, whether it's the necessity to mitigate risk, and to do that through programs like crop insurance. Every farmer, every ag group, association, that's what we hear, the need to maintain that very strong crop insurance program across the state. We heard about the need for disaster aid and to be able to get that disaster aid out earlier to farmers and ranchers who have been affected by bad weather, who have been affected by hailstorms or flooding, to get them the resources they need to continue to feed the world, to take care of their families, and also to take care of their communities as well. And then we heard about precision agriculture. I was able to get in a planter that was parked because the young farmer got done planting last night. And he was showing me, just really all the cool stuff that he is able to do because of precision agriculture in his tractor. He can determine how deep a seed needs to go on that planter. He can watch in real time if that seed is being spaced 6 inches apart. And then with all this new technology or the connection he has to the internet in that tractor, he can make adjustments in real time so that his input costs will be lower, which means his profits will be higher, and he will become an even better steward of the land. So when we came here now to the university, we just had a pretty busy couple hours, and it seemed like a week. But we had a busy time here, and to hear about all the fantastic research that is going on with our land-grant university, especially with regards to precision agriculture, and how that research is going to translate to being available and working hand in glove with ag producers so that we can become even better stewards, better conservationists, better producers of the food and the fuel and the fiber that Nebraska produces. So I want to thank the university for hosting us. After we leave here, we're going to be headed out to talk to some livestock producers at another roundtable to visit a feedlot here in this area. As you all know, livestock is the economic engine of the state of Nebraska. The livestock industry has the largest economic impact on this state. It's around $13.8 billion, and Nebraska is a leader in the livestock industry. So I'm looking forward to that discussion as we come up. But I just want to invite Senator Boozman. Again, he's the ranking member of the Senate Ag Committee, and he is traveling to a number of states, and I'm so happy he's here in Nebraska to be able to listen to our stories that we have here in the state of Nebraska, and then to continue to work on the Farm Bill. Senator Boozman works very well with Senator Stabenow, who's the chairman of the committee. She's a Democrat from the state of Michigan. And when you think about it, we have Nebraska, we have Arkansas, we have Michigan. These are very different states, but they're all ag states. And we need to make sure that we work together in a bipartisan way, and it's non-controversial to get a really good, strong farm bill out. Hopefully by this year out of the Senate, to be able to get the House to have one too, because this is important. It's important for Nebraska. It's important for our communities, but this is important for our country as well. Agriculture is vital to our national security. And so I'm just really, really pleased to introduce to you Senator John Boozman, and I would ask that he reflect a little bit on what he's seen so far today, and also to give you all an update on what's happening with the Farm Bill.
Thank you, Senator Fischer, and thank you so much for inviting me to be out here. I told as we were meeting earlier, I just do whatever she tells me to do. She does a tremendous job on the Ag Committee. She does a tremendous job on all of her committees, but it's a real pleasure working with her. And really what this is all about for her and me and Senator Ricketts, who also has just hit the beach running in the sense of doing a tremendous job, bringing his skills as an ex-governor, how things actually work, the things that he's worked on while he was governor here, and then translating those into making our federal government more efficient really is just a breath of fresh air. So what we're doing today is listening, and I believe very strongly, I believe with all of my heart that the solutions to our problems need to come from the ground up, not from Washington. And the other thing about agriculture is our problems are regional. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Even our fields are different within the field. And so, as Senator Fischer said, this is not a Republican or a Democrat thing. This is about regions of the country. This region is different than Arkansas. The I's, Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, they're different. California's different. But on the other hand, they've got a bunch of similarities as we visit with farmers. The Farm Bill is a huge deal. In my state, we have 75 counties, 53 of them lost population. 53% of the counties in America lost population in the last census. The only thing that's left, agriculture is 25% of our economy. It's probably about that here. It's that in Kansas, that in Michigan. But when you get outside of any town of any size, it's probably 85 or 90%. It's all that's left. So this is about helping our farm community, but it's also about shoring up rural America. As Senator Fischer mentioned, food security is national security. So this is a 5-year contract. It's a big deal. It allows our farmers to have certainty, knowing what the rules are going to be for the next 5 years, what they can count on their risk management tools and things as they go forward, so that they can go to the bank and borrow the money that they need. And then two, understand as they risk, tremendous risk every year as they plant, that there's a safety net in place for them. I can't tell you how impressed I am with this facility, with what we've seen. We hear a lot about climate, which is so very important, taking care of the air, taking care of the water and our land. And that's really what this is all about. And it's going to be about technology. It's going to be about research. It's going to be about science in order to give us those capabilities. And it's not only good for the environment, it's good for our producers. If you find out that you can put 60% of the fertilizer that you normally were applying, with fertilizer costs 130% higher than they were a couple years ago, that's a big deal. That's good for the producer, it's good for the environment, it's good for everybody. So those are the kind of things that we're coming up. The story here is a great one, and like I say, it's just a real honor to be with you. And we're going to take a lot of the stuff that we've heard today and then take that back and see how we can make a better farm bill. Certainly the research component, all of the things that are going on in this facility and throughout the university system are so vitally important, and hopefully we're going to be able to make it such that we can improve. So thank you again very much. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator, for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, I'd invite Senator Ricketts to come up the podium and make a few comments. I am so very lucky to have him in Washington. As it's been said many times, Senator Ricketts, with his experience as governor, his love for this state, he's hit the ground running. He's on some great committees. The one that really applies, well, there's two that really apply to today. He's on foreign relations, and you know his background when he was governor with trade. He's also on the Environment and Public Works Committee. On that committee, I keep telling, that is a huge committee. They have jurisdiction over the EPA. They have a jurisdiction over the Corps. The RFS, which is coming up. Of course, Nebraska is a big ethanol state. So he is in very unique and important positions already in the United States Senate for the state of Nebraska. So Pete, what do you have to say?
Great. Actually, you were saying doing such a good job, I don't know that I should step in because I just probably screwed up. But thank you very much. Deb has been a great coach and mentor. And in fact, the Committee on Environment and Public Works was actually her suggestion. She said, Pete, you're really going to enjoy this. It's a really important committee. You should go after this one. So thank you very much for that suggestion, because that was a great suggestion. And thank you all very much for being here today. One of the things that I always say is that our farmers and ranchers were the original conservationists, because they wanted to pass on that family farmer ranch to the next generation. And what we saw today here at UNL Extension is what the University of Nebraska is doing to help our farmers and ranchers continue to be the best conservationists in the world. What we saw with regard to precision agriculture, Senator Boozman already talked about how we can grow more, get better yields with less inputs. Whether that's reducing the amount of water we're using or the amount of fertilizer we're using, it all goes toward making sure that we can continue to have the great food security that we have here in this country. We've got the highest quality food, and also be able to take care of the environment at the same time. So there's really exciting research going on here, really high-tech, cool stuff that's going on that involves robotics, cameras, sensors. It's really neat stuff. So I was really excited to be able to see what we're doing to continue to make sure that we lead the world in agricultural innovation. And of course, agriculture is our #1 industry here in the state. It's the heart and soul of what we do. It's about 20% of our state's economy, and it's going to continue to be the most important industry we have in Nebraska for the foreseeable future. So the investments we're making here through the University of Nebraska are critical for our state's future prosperity. So I'm excited to be in the U.S. Senate to be able to help continue to support agriculture here in Nebraska, whether it's through trade mission or the trade things that we can do from the Senate Foreign Relations, whether it's regulatory, whether it's supporting John and Deb as they work through the Farm Bill. All that's going to be very important to make sure that we continue to support our farmers and ranchers as they feed and fuel the entire world. So with that, Deb, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Does anybody have any questions?
What are the main things Nebraskans should be excited for in this farm bill?
As an outsider.
No, well, I think that Nebraskans can be very excited in the sense that if you look, if we were discussing the Farm Bill, if this were 2017 and we were talking about the Farm Bill in 2018 when we got it passed, we would say, well, we're going to tweak it. You know, things were so stable then, you know, compared to now. And so now with interest rates doubling, input costs through the roof, the uncertainty out there that our farmers are facing, what we want to do is make sure that we come up with a farm bill that gets us back up to where we're at now, to give them the ability to have the risk management tools that they have, And then two, all of the things that we learned today, making it such that it's easier for them to acquire the technology that they need to be efficient and more profitable. That's really what it's all about. So it's just an exciting time. I had the opportunity to have a meeting with the president last night. It was myself and then the four corners, my counterpart, Senator Stabenow, who's chairman of the committee, chairman of the House was there, ranking member, and Secretary of Agriculture. You know what, the first thing it reminded me when Senator Ricketts was talking, agriculture in my state is 25%. It's number one as far as, you know, the leading. That's the first thing the president said. He said, essentially, I'm from Delaware. This is the number one entity in our state. And so he gets it. So I'm really excited that we've got the prospect to go forward and come up with a farm bill that our farmers can be excited about. Not only the farmers here, it's not a one-size-fits-all, but the farmers throughout the country. California farmers are very different than this. The other thing that we've got to do, and all of us are working on this really hard, Senator Fischer and Senator Ricketts are leading the way, is trade. 40% of the products that we produce in Arkansas or export, I'm sure it's at least that here. We have to have the attitude that we've got one customer here and many hundreds of customers someplace else. So trade is another issue that again, hopefully we can beef up and do a better job of that, both in the farm bill, but also just as a country.
Senator Boozman, are we on track to get that farm bill done in 2023?
We are, well, yes, in the sense that I'm encouraged. Again, the meeting with the president last night went very, very well, and the Secretary of Agriculture was there too. So all of us want to get this done. We need to kind of figure out our top lines on what we've got to spend and things like that. We're going to get that worked out, I think, in the next couple of months. We're doing these listening sessions. We've had countless sessions in Washington, listening to producers. We're in the process now. They're starting to put stuff on paper that we all agree with. And then as we get a little bit more into the budget aspect of things, we'll be able to actually put some figures, additional. But yeah, we're moving forward. My goal is to get it done before it runs out the end of September. Certainly we need to get it done this year, because next year you get into presidential politics and it just, there's just so much stuff going on, it makes it harder.
Can you, Senator, elaborate on the meeting last night about what was discussed, and then from those conversations, how will that help formulate the budget part of it when it comes to this $1 trillion price tag we're hearing about?
Well, we really didn't discuss specifics, just about the importance for him as president to get this done. And then again, for all of us, for all of our states, for our farm community to get this done also. So it was a very general meeting. We agreed to get together again in the not too distant future. He encouraged us to work hard to get it done. And so I was really pleased that, you have the administration, that's behind 100%. So really not so much anything specific, just really basis. But we were in there well over an hour, so it's good.
One of the things highlighted in a lecture hosted by the university this week was that China is outpacing the U.S. 5-1 when it comes to ag research. Is that a concern amongst the three of you? And if so, what can be addressed when it comes to the farm bill for that issue?
Well, I'll speak first, but it very much is a concern, and not only are they outpacing us, the Europeans are outpacing us too. So we're blessed. We have the reputation of taking care of, of our country and feeding a good part of the rest of the country. We see the war in Ukraine. That's certainly an issue. 30% of the wheat, a good portion of the cooking oil is produced over there. Things are uncertain. So we're committed to getting the research dollars that we need so that facilities like this can continue to flourish. They're flourishing anyway, but we can help them go forward. As I said earlier, that really is the answer to to the climate issues and things like that, making us such that we can do things in a way that is very efficient. But we can be proud of what we've done now. That they might be spending the research dollars, catching up, but they are catching up, okay? When you look at our input costs, they're level. Our productivity is like this. We have been the leader. We've developed this stuff, but you can't sit on the couch, and watch stuff. You have to continue to fight and move forward. And that's what institutions like this are all about, and we can be very proud of their efforts and other efforts that are going on throughout the country.
We've got time for 2 more questions.
There was a report that the Senate came out with about production costs for farmers. You've heard from farmers. What are some of the concerns that you have with rising production costs, lower commodity prices, and then the influence that inflation is having on profitability?
There you go.
Well,
They hear us all the
I mean, that really is the crux of the problem. You described it, all of those things going on. And so in this next Farm Bill, we need to give the risk management tools so that our farmers, can deal with that. Always it seems like input costs go up, commodity prices go up. Some things are up now. Some things are not up as much. But commodity prices go down and the input costs never go down. We've got these tremendous land prices that are going on now, tremendous interest rates. And then the other challenge, the real challenge that we've got is that we have a baby boomer farmer group. The average age is about 58 years old. And so we've got to get young people, but how do you do that, with the huge costs that it takes to get into agriculture? So we've got to figure those things out. The other problem that we've got on the other end is that because people are getting married much later, having fewer children, there's not as many people to come into the ranks. So those really are the issues that we're dealing with, and that's really what this is all about, is getting good ideas as to how we can deal with those issues as we go forward. But they're significant.
Question for Senator Fischer. You talked about addressing the response to natural disasters, perhaps in a more timely way. What do you see on that front now? What have you heard from Nebraskans? What do you want to see change for this farm bill?
Well, I want to see those payments advanced. And so we have a standalone bill which we are hoping to get incorporated into the Farm Bill, which would make it easier for payments to be distributed earlier instead of having to wait through that. And as I was saying to some folks earlier, when you have to wait 2 years after a disaster in order to get your payments, we've heard stories that some people they've already lost their farm. So we want to make sure that those payments get out earlier. We saw horrible flooding across this state in 2019. We've seen wildfires that are drought conditions are taking a tremendous toll in number of acres across the entire state. It's not just in one area of the state anymore. We look at storms, whether it's just our usual March and April blizzards that come through, or with hail. There's just a lot of risks that ag producers take that they have no control over. So to make those payments earlier to them would be extremely helpful.